Hi, welcome back. These old pennies could be hiding in your pocket. And one of them is worth over $1.7 million. Don't let the copper fool you. Some of these coins are pure treasure. First up, the 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny emerged during a moment of cautious optimism as America climbed out of the depths of the Great Depression. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint with a mintage of roughly 247 million pieces, it carries no mint mark yet whispers volumes about the era in which it circulated. Copper was cheap, but pennies themselves were precious. Every cent helped to buy bread, ride a streetcar, or tip a newsboy, crying out the latest headlines from an uneasy world still reeling from economic collapse. For collectors today, circulated 1935 cents are plentiful and inexpensive, but the thrill lies in discovering gems. Bathed in original red luster, coins graded, MS-65 red fetch, $40,000 to $7,500, while superb MS-67 red survivors, free of carbon spots and struck from fresh dies, have crossed the auction block for $15,000 to $18,000. Variety hunters comb through rolls seeking repunched dates, notably a bold 1935 style, die cracks sprouting from Lincoln's coat, or dramatic lamination flaws caused by impurities in the plancher. Each anomaly transforms an ordinary cent into a miniature time capsule, sparking stories of a country determined to move forward. Whether tucked in an album slot or glinting beneath a glass display, a pristine 1935. Wheat Penny reminds us that perseverance can mint beauty even in hardship. Next up, the 1927 Lincoln Wheat Penny arrived during the Roaring '20s, when jazz flooded speakeasies and Model T Fords rattled down dust-blown highways. Philadelphia struck about 144 million pieces that year, and while many were spent on nickel movies or flapper hairpins, few survived in top-end mint state. Copper tones easily in humid vaults. So blazing red, 1927 cents, verging on perfection are scarce prizes. An MS-65 red typically commands $25,000 to $26,000. An MS-66 red can soar past $28,000. And the ultra-elusive MS-67 red, with satiny glow and needle-sharp wheat lines, has realized well over $4,000 at major auctions. Collectors also chase subtle, double-die obverses where Liberty shows extra thickness, as well as charming BIE die breaks, a tiny raised line between the B and E of Liberty that add character and value. Handling a 1927 penny is like tuning a vintage radio. You catch faint echoes of Lindbergh's transatlantic flight, Harlem Renaissance poetry, and a stock market climbing toward its dramatic crescendo. It is a 1-gram bridge between carefree prosperity and the sobering decade that would follow. Next up, the 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny holds a dual identity every day. Small change for soldiers, families on the home front, and, a century later, a gateway for collectors into the drama of World War I America. Philadelphia coined about 196 million pieces, yet most show heavy wear from hard use in war bond drives and Liberty loan campaigns. Circulated examples cost mere cents, but coins preserved, in blazing mint red draw strong bids, and MS-65 red commands $2,500 to $3,500. MS-66 red leaps to $39,000 or more, and a majestic MS-67 red with silky fields has topped $47,000. Specialists scour 1917 rolls for the famous double die obverse, bold notching, on In God We Trust, and Liberty, a variety so dramatic it can eclipse 5-figure price tags even in mid-grade. Other delights include repunched mint marks on the 1917 D and 1917 S brethren, brassy wood-grained plancher streaks, and die-clash ghosts of wheat heads hovering over Lincoln's coat. Each nuance transforms copper into narrative. Telegrams clicking, doughboys drilling, and the nation pivoting from isolation to global engagement. A gleaming 1917 cent is thus more than a collectible. It is a heartbeat from an anxious spring 100-plus years ago. Next up, the 1914 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is the undisputed superstar of early Lincoln cents, a scarce date titan whose tiny mintage of just $193,000 at the Denver Mint renders it a perpetual key in any wheat cent album. In well-circulated grades, it already commands respect, about US $150 even in good 4. Step up to very fine, and you crest $550 to $800. But in crisp mint state, the 1914 D becomes legendary. A softly lustrous MS-63 Brown posts 27,000 or more. A fiery MS-65 red-brown breaches $33,000, and a full-blaze MS-66 red specimen, virtually flawless and rarely seen, shattered records at over $10,005 in recent years. Counterfeits abound, adding a stray D to a common 1914 P is a crook's favorite parlor trick, so authentication by a top-tier grading service is essential. Demarkers, such as a tiny die chip under the second wheat ear and a faint, diagonal polish line through Lincoln's ear, help identify genuine pieces. Beyond price, the 1914 D whispers a frontier saga, miners in Colorado, tossing these pennies across saloon counters, cattlemen feeding them into slot machines, children dropping them into church plates on dusty Sundays. By sheer survival odds alone, every honest example is a miracle. Owning one feels like clasping the rarest ember. From America's Western mints, an ember that still glows after 1 or 11 years, fueling the passions of numismatists everywhere. Next up, the 1943 D steel Lincoln wheat. Penny is one of the most visually distinct and historically fascinating coins in all of American numismatics. During the height of World War II, copper was needed for the war effort to make ammunition casings, telephone wires, and other essential military equipment. So in 1943, the U.S. Mint made the bold decision to strike pennies using zinc-coated steel instead of the traditional bronze composition. The result was a coin unlike anything seen before, bright, silvery, and almost ghost-like compared to every penny that came before or after. The Denver Mint produced over 217 million of these steel cents in 1943, identified by the D mint mark under the date. While the mintage was high, the steel cents presented challenges from day one. They were magnetic, which caused issues in vending machines and coin counters, and they were prone to rusting when their zinc coating wore off. Many people even mistook them for dimes, leading to confusion in everyday transactions. Yet, these practical shortcomings have only fueled their intrigue among collectors over time. Despite being produced in huge numbers, the 1943 D steel wheat penny in high grade, uncirculated condition can be quite valuable. Coins with sharp detail, no rust, and full luster are highly prized. In MS-65 condition, they can fetch between $25,000 to $35,500. Exceptional examples graded MS-67 or higher with brilliant surfaces can sell for $3,700 or more. The steel composition made these coins more difficult to preserve, so truly pristine specimens are less common than the mintage numbers suggest. There are also several varieties and errors associated with the 1943 D issue. The most dramatic and incredibly rare is the 1943 D bronze ascent, an error where a few pennies were mistakenly struck on leftover bronze planchets from the previous year. These are extremely valuable, with one example selling for over $1.7 million at auction. Additionally, 1943 D double die obverses and off-center strikes add further excitement for collectors searching for anomalies within this wartime issue. The steel penny has also become a beloved educational piece. Teachers and parents often use them to spark curiosity in young collectors, explaining how war affected even something as common as a penny. The 1943 D steel wheat. Penny is not just a coin, it's a conversation starter, a relic of national sacrifice, and a bold design experiment. It represents a time when every material was precious and every effort contributed to a greater cause. Holding one in your hand is like holding a fragment of American wartime history, cold, metallic, and unforgettable. Next up, the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny comes from a time when the United States was just beginning to emerge from the shadows of the Great Depression and looking cautiously at the storm clouds gathering overseas. Minted in Philadelphia with a total production of over 586 million coins, the 1940 Wheat Penny lacks a mint mark, but holds strong collector appeal thanks to its era, design integrity, and transitional significance. These coins were struck in the traditional bronze, alloy of 95%, copper, and 5% tin and zinc. They feature Victor D. Brenner's classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the famous twin wheat stalks on the reverse. By 1940, the Lincoln cent had already been in production for over 3 decades, but the consistency and elegance of the design continued to resonate with the public. These pennies were the daily currency of an America still wearing the scars of economic hardship, yet full of promise and patriotic spirit. Circulated 1940. Pennies are common and can be found for just a few cents, but what sets them apart is their potential in high-grade uncirculated condition. Collectors seek out coins with full red coloration and minimal contact marks. MS-65 red examples typically bring $15,000 to $16,000, while superb MS-67 red coins can command prices north of $18,000, depending on strike and eye appeal. The challenge lies in finding coins with uniform color, sharp wheat stalks, and a clean, blemish-free portrait of Lincoln. Though the 1940 penny has no major rare errors widely known, there are still a few minor varieties, including repunched dates and die cracks, that can pique the interest of variety hunters. Occasionally, a 1940 penny will exhibit unusual toning, blue, purple, or rainbow hues caused by oxidation of the copper over time, which can make it highly desirable as a toned coin for advanced collectors. Perhaps one of the most compelling aspects of the 1940 Lincoln cent is its role as a historical placeholder. It sits on the precipice of global war, just 1 year before the attack on Pearl Harbor, and serves as a reminder of pre-war America. Coins like these passed through the hands of schoolchildren, shopkeepers, and soldiers' families, carrying with them the dreams and burdens of a generation. While not exceedingly rare, the 1940 Wheat Penny remains a meaningful and attractive part of any collection. It's not just a coin, it's a copper snapshot of America, standing at the crossroads of peace and war. Next up, the 1938 Lincoln Wheat Penny, produced during the tail end of the Great Depression, reflects a time when America was still struggling to find its footing. Minted in Philadelphia with no mint mark, over 156 million of these coins were struck. While that may seem like a large number, it was actually modest by penny standards, and it speaks to the reduced economic activity of the era. Every coin mattered more, every cent counted, and the 1938 penny was no exception. Struck in the classic bronze composition, this penny carries all the beauty of Victor D. Brenner's original design. Lincoln's profile remains noble and sharp, while the reverse wheat stalks speak of harvest, hope, and national pride. This coin is often collected not for its rarity but for its context, a coin that circulated in an era when unemployment was high, breadlines were long, and the world was edging closer to a second global conflict. In circulated condition, 1938 pennies are relatively common and affordable, but in high-grade mint state, especially with full red luster, they become significantly more valuable. Coins graded MS-65 red often bring $4,400 to $16,500 at auction. Higher grade examples in MS-67 red have sold for over $24,300, particularly those with rich color, clean surfaces, and strong eye appeal. These aren't just coins. They are pristine survivors from a time when very few people could afford to set aside perfect coins. Although there are no dramatic double dies or high-profile mint errors for the 1938 issue, subtle varieties do exist. The polishing lines, minor die cracks, and repunched dates can sometimes be found, and are of special interest to collectors, who enjoy chasing the little differences that make a coin unique. These features may not carry massive premiums, but they add layers of fascination and personalization to collecting. What makes the 1938 Lincoln cent particularly captivating is its quiet resilience. It embodies the spirit of a people enduring hardship, holding on, and slowly moving forward. These coins were used in streetcars, candy stores, and payphones. They traveled through thousands of hands, each one with its own story, its own weight. Today, they rest in albums and display cases, no longer currency but rather pieces of living history. The 1938 Wheat Penny may not shout for attention, but its story, subtle, strong, and deeply human, is one well worth telling. Next up, the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny stands as a poignant final chapter in one of America's most beloved coinage designs. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin represents the last year the United States Mint produced the iconic wheat reverse, an emblem of abundance and prosperity that had adorned the penny since 1909, marking Abraham Lincoln's centennial birth year. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse portrait of Lincoln remained unchanged. But in 1959, the wheat stalks would be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial. Thus, the 1958 issue occupies a unique and bittersweet place in numismatic history. Over 252 million of these pennies were minted in Philadelphia, and because they lack a mint mark, they are often overlooked. However, their historical significance makes them more than worthy of attention. For collectors, high-grade examples graded MS-65 and above can command strong premiums, especially those with original red luster. Auction records show that an MS67 red specimen can fetch upwards of $2,200, with some going even higher if they possess exceptional eye appeal and flawless surfaces. These are not ordinary pocket change coins. Their value lies in sharp strikes, pristine fields, and brilliant color. There is also a rare double die variety of the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny, known as the 1958 double die obverse. This dramatic error displays strong doubling in the inscriptions. Liberty and in God we trust. Only a few of these have ever surfaced, and they are among the rarest and most sought-after varieties in the entire Lincoln Cent series. One example sold for over $1 million in a private sale, making it a true holy grail for penny collectors. The story behind its rarity is tied to the extremely limited number of known examples. Only 3 have been authenticated. For a coin struck in such high quantity, it's remarkable that this error managed to be so elusive. For those diving into wheat pennies, the 1958 Lincoln Cent is a critical piece. It marks the end of a golden era and the beginning of a new chapter. Collectors often seek it to complete sets, especially in high grade. Uncirculated rolls are still being opened today, decades later, by treasure hunters and investors, hoping to discover that one pristine gem or even a hidden error. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a curious beginner, the 1958 Wheat Penny offers an exciting and meaningful piece of American history, one that bridges the past and future of U.S. coinage. Next up, the 1957 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most widely available wheat cents today, and yet it carries immense appeal for collectors due to its accessibility and the rich historical period it represents. Minted in Denver, as indicated by the D mint mark below the date, this penny had a staggering mintage of over 1.05 billion coins. Despite the massive production, there is still strong demand for high-grade, original specimens among collectors seeking sharp detail and brilliant luster. Struck during the post-war boom of the Eisenhower era, the 1957 D penny was used in everyday transactions at a time when soda cost a nickel and a full meal could be had for less than $1. Each one of these pennies carries with it the silent legacy of the American working class, the booming industrial economy, and a rapidly changing cultural landscape. It's more than just copper, it's a portal into 1950s America. Collectors who specialize in wheat pennies often aim for coins with full red coloration and minimal contact marks. Graded examples in MS65. Red are frequently valued between $22,000 and $24,500, but top-tier coins graded MS67, red or higher, have sold at auction for $25,500 to $27,000, depending on strike and eye appeal. Toning, die polishing lines, and planche quality all affect value at this level. Some rolls stored in optimal conditions for decades have yielded surprisingly high-quality coins that make grading submissions worthwhile. Additionally, minor die varieties such as repunched mint marks RPMs and die cracks are known to exist within the 1957 D mintage. These tiny deviations can add substantial collector interest. For example, an RPM variety where the D appears doubled can sell for significantly more depending on clarity and rarity. Coin roll hunters, or CR-hers, often target this year in hopes of pulling out an RPM or a near-perfect uncirculated example. Even circulated examples of the 1957 D penny serve an important educational and nostalgic function. Many baby boomers remember using these coins as children, while younger generations collect them for their affordability and charm. As wheat pennies continue to disappear from circulation, even these more common years take on increased importance. The 1957 D may not be the rarest, but it is undeniably a cornerstone in Lincoln Cent collections, representing both an era of great optimism and the waning years of the wheat penny design. Next up, the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of those intriguing mid-century coins that quietly captures collectors' attention. It was struck in Philadelphia bearing no mint mark and had a mintage of just over 256 million. While this number is large, it is considerably less than many other wheat pennies from the 1950s, adding a subtle layer of scarcity that becomes noticeable when seeking high-grade uncirculated specimens. 1953 was a year of transition for the United States. The Korean War was still underway, and Dwight D. Eisenhower had just taken office. The nation was slowly recovering from the challenges of the early 1950s and looking toward a modern, more peaceful era. The pennies minted in that year passed through the hands of factory workers, soldiers returning home, and children buying bubble gum. Each coin represents a tangible fragment of that historic moment. In terms of value, the 1953 Lincoln cent is most desirable in red uncirculated condition. While circulated examples are common and can be found for just a few cents, gems with rich red luster and minimal blemishes are sought after. Coins graded MS65 red can sell for $12,000 to $15,000, while MS66 red examples can push toward $19,500 or more. The true premiums, however, lie with MS67 red specimens, which are rare and can achieve auction. Price is well over $23,800 when they exhibit strong eye appeal and flawless fields. No major double dyes or large-scale minting errors have been cataloged for the 1953 penny, but minor anomalies like die chips, die clashes, and planche flaws can occasionally be found, adding interest for collectors who enjoy variety hunting. These minor flaws, like a small cut over a letter or a clash of Lincoln's profile into the wheat stalks, can be unique and often turn a common coin into a fascinating conversation piece. What makes the 1953 Lincoln penny particularly interesting is how it bridges two periods of coin collecting: the war-era scarcity of the early 1940s and the post-war surplus of the later 1950s. Its subtle scarcity in high grades and its clean, classic appearance make it a favorite among those completing full wheat cent albums. For many, it's a reminder of mid-century America, a time of soldiers returning home, black and white televisions, and a country on the brink of profound change. Holding a 1953 penny is like holding a quiet but enduring piece of that history. Each of these Lincoln wheat pennies carries more than just face value. They carry stories, history, and in some cases, life-changing value. So before you spend that old penny, take a second look. It might just be a piece of American treasure. Thanks for watching and happy collecting.